once you open it, it should look something like this. Yours might be white still, obviously. I turned the dark mode on.
What is the end result of what we're trying to do right now? Why are we trying to do this?
In terms of what this project is, what the prompt is for this plane. In terms of what you can actually do with this plane, it's very limited. I think that was done by design in order to focus on some of the things at the club. To get you guys building, get you guys, doing some hands-on stuff. As a result, though, that decision I think becomes that much more important to when you're picking between these airfoils. You want to see, you know, you want to have, you want to know what you're actually designing to. You want to know what your specifications are to then input into your performance code, right? Or you can go the other way. You can have your performance code. You can assume some things and then find an airfoil that meets those parameters. Although probably don't want to do it that way since your airfoil choice is limited in this case. So you're going to end up looking at things like lift, drag. You can look at pitching moment things. Although that one is a little less advisable since we do have a way to ensure the plane is stable without really having to go that in depth with it. Yeah. So can everyone get to this screen here, or are we having trouble? So obviously first you have to go download the program in the link I sent. I sent it in general, right? Yeah, right there. So you open that, it downloads, and then you probably want the newest one, and you're gonna hit download latest version. You're gonna want to hit downloads, and then that's on full. It'll be yep. It'll be a zip file, so you just have to unzip it later. And make sure if you're downloading right now, make sure you put it in a folder where you can find it.
Alright, are we downloading? Download it. And then my computer killed itself. So, download it. Sorry, I was logged in with my phone with my bank. I had a fraud on my credit card. Like $80. Yeah. Sorry. I'm just here. I guess I'm stuck in Vegas.
So once you unzip, you should have this. How can I hear myself?
Please let me run it. Run it. Live Diego. Live Diego. Good time. Oh, yellow commando. Okay. Oh shit.
Once you have it, what you do to actually open the application is obviously click on application within the folder. If I want to unzip it, it'll want to name itself into a folder, and then you're good. You go into that folder and you open the application.
That is that we are the application. We see a white screen.
Yep. So it should look like.
You message later, Sean. You saw it.
So can everyone get to a screen that looks something like what I have?
Completely blank.
Completely blank.
Wonderful. Completely blank. Andrew, did you our new members today? Hi, Andrew. Eddie, just, I saw you joined the yeah. Then just we, yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you guys. Just for now, what you actually just.
Wait, where am I?
Is there a rule that's flying with Andrew? Huh?
Yes. Is anyone having trouble?
Yes, there is. Probably. It's in every rule stuff. No. I mean, yes.
That's
You want me to add a text?
that's what Adrian suggested.
Yeah.
Build the text and then build hydrogen to offset most of the structural weight. You're not lighter than air. I mean, you are. You're about the weight of air.
You know those structures that are inside the parking lot?
Can I continue? Does everyone feel pretty good?
It's part of that. It's fused. The satellite. The metal structures, circular structures, those are all part of the intersection.
There you
There's
go.
more on
There you go.
opposite corner.
My screen is all white. Is that?
Well, it's
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Just go to options.
I think it's like a 9x3 meter.
And then display options. And then it says
It's like a
9x3.
no, I know 9. It actually have to be a 10x6 feet.
All right.
The intercept satellite.
So, obviously, like I said earlier, you have a series
Yes.
of airfoil options that you're choosing from. We're gonna let's go ahead and analyze it. In terms of what these actually mean, we can have a discussion later. But whenever you want to find like an airfoil profile, honestly, airfoiltools.com, absolutely legendary website. Where you can just look up and pretty much any airfoil. I think it uses the University of Chicago base, where they have everything. You can generate the program as well, but just to keep things simple.
Can we add the XFLR-376?
No.
Mike and I know which one to do project.
So on the website, has everyone got airfoiltools.com? Yes. What airfoil do you want to start with? Try to find the Clark Y. Alright. You can just do text search, look for Clark Y on the website. And there should be quite a few profiles. Just go ahead and use the first one. It's not right. Then you go to airfoil details. Go on ahead and go to ceiling format that file. There should be a little tab that says ceiling format that file. Use ceiling format, which just depends how the coordinates are arranged, how the coordinates are given to you. The other format includes includes the camber line in it, and it's kind of it's not the easiest to work with because I don't actually like it. So always make sure when you're importing airfoils and your coordinates that you're. So when you click on that, it should open a new tab. So that has all your it just has a bunch of points and it should have an inch airfoil on top. Is everyone good? Everyone gets there? Yes.
All right. I know this might seem kind of weird, but you're gonna go to what is it? Notepad. Open Note. It doesn't really matter what you use, but you don't want to use Excel. No, because you need to save it as a particular file type. So yeah. So you're gonna go ahead and copy whatever on the whatever all the points right from the website. Copy them. Go to Notepad. Just create Notepad or whatever the equivalent is. I know some of you guys may be using something else, but it doesn't really matter. You just paste it in a doc in your file, and then you're just gonna have all the coordinates there, right? Everyone get up to here? Good. You're gonna click File, Save As, and you want to make sure you know where you're saving this, right? You don't want to put it somewhere crazy. It's somewhere you should be able to find it because we're gonna import it in like 20 seconds to the actual program, right? So if you want to create a folder that just is called like airfoil, coordinates airfoil.dat, it doesn't, as long as you have it. And before you save it, you want to make sure your save as type is all files, and you don't want to save it as a text document. That's the thing. You want to save it as a .dat, and you just want to add that extension to the file name. And make sure when you save as type, it's all files, right? You're not saving as the .txt.
You just have all files and then where you putting in the dot.
Just in the name, in the file name, .dat. And then just make sure you're not saving as a txt. You're saving as all files. Yeah. So once you have that, you just go ahead and click save. And then it's up to you guys. You guys can pick the other airfoil. We can do it by majority vote. Does anyone really want to see another one of the airfoils in particular?
90.
We can do the S94.
That's 132. We can look at the 7062, which is allowed, which is part of the rule set. Let's do the 7062.
Let's do the SD7062. So again, in the similar fashion as we just did, you go search. Honestly, if you just look up the airfoil name like on Google, the airfoil tools is usually the first result, right? So 7062. SD7062.
Parser, that file parser would have slides and the two files would include 3 actions.
Let's go ahead and download it. Again, same process. You CLIG, copy what's over on the page, or the copy the coordinates
Into
a new text document. Yes. It's not really a text document, but into anywhere where you can save something as a .dat file.
File, save as.
Save as all files .dat. And then again, save it to the same place where you saved the other one, so you can easily find them. Save. Good. Has everyone downloaded the two airfoils and has them in a place where they can access it?
Or you want them in the same file?
No. Just in the somewhere where you know where it is. A folder would be nice, just generally.
Oh yeah. Is this like on it? All right, yes, I do. I'll just verify how I got this report. All right.
Does everyone get up to here? So let's go back to XFLR-5. Do you guys see that little file thing at the top? Little box you can click. You're gonna want to head and click on it, and you're gonna do open.
File. Open.
And then you should see. Try and go to wherever you saved your airfoils, and you're gonna want to head and click on Clark Y and on SD7062. Yes.
Okay.
So once you have that, you're gonna click open, and you should see some stuff pop up. Yes. File. Open. You should be able to. Yeah. You have to do a dark override. Yeah, it's like the first checkbox in options. It'll turn everything like bluish. It looks better.
Display options. Dark override.
Alright, so now you guys have imported two airfoils. The next step after this is actually getting into doing some of the design. So, do you guys see the analysis tab? We're going to be running the actual panel code now that'll get you lift and drag values. The intricacies of this doesn't really matter so much right now. If you guys actually want to go into it, that's for a different day, different time. So, define analysis. Right, under analysis, you're going to go to define analysis. Everything else here... Actually, no, let's not do that. Let's do an analysis, batch analysis. And then you're going to click on both airfoils, select both of them.
Batch analysis.
Can everyone get to something that looks like the screen that I'm on right now?
Wait, can you do where do you select the airfoils?
Once you'll get a pop-up tab. So you do see both of your airfoils loaded right on the screen, on the left side? Yeah. So once you go to analysis, batch analysis, you should see a pop-up window that should have, this is where you click on the airfoils right there. So you're going to go ahead and click on select both. And then here you see min, you see max, and you see increment. That's the those are the range. That's the range for the angles of attack you're going to be analyzing, and the spacing. You know, at what like fineness, I guess. So I've done a negative 15 to 20 in an increment of, let's do 0.5. There's no need to put that. That's small. Everyone have that so far?
So yeah.
So you're going to go analysis, batch analysis, select both airfoils, and then you're going to specify, you're going to do angle of attack, minus 15 to 20 in an increment of 0.5.
I spent way happy on a lot of this. You want to adapt another two, except now say that's 5.
All right, everyone good to hear? Yes. Is anyone having trouble? Can everyone get here? Yeah. Everybody good? Good. All right. So then it's as easy as hitting analyze and waiting. It's gonna run a lot of stuff. So just be aware that it might take a little bit.
What are we doing?
Analyze.
Well, he was not sure.
You have a better computer than me.
Thank you, by the way. Why do my batteries still working extra? What software is that? It's the one that they said. But isn't all this there all in the website? It's like
And it does it. So the benefit of this, right? Do you guys see in this table that you should still have open? Do you guys see all those columns? You have 12 of them. That's 12 different Reynolds numbers that you're getting. The website doesn't have either. It could have these Reynolds numbers. It might not. And also the website doesn't do any 3D. You're not going to find a single 3D lift to drag puller because you can't make one without knowing your wing geometry, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's why you always import your airfoils and you always do this as 2D analysis first, right? The 2D analysis in itself may not be too helpful because, like we said, some of it's on the website. You need to have it to be able to do 3D. So even if you already have a wing, a wing designed in the program, and you change, just say you want to change your airfoil out for something else, if you don't do the 2D first, it won't work. It'll break your whole thing. So that's why we're starting from here.
Okay.
So you guys should have something like this, right?
Sorry, look on Discord. Ruth, you keep forgetting that you're streaming your screen. Oh, somebody bring your update. On that, there you go. I don't have those little dots.
Yeah. So the dots are because I store my operating points. So if I were to open up, click under the airfoil. Let's go ahead and unselect everything except for RE 100. 100,000. How do you unselect? You at the top you should have a little box that has a little X on it, and you should just click on it and it should unselect everything. And then you just open up each individual one and find RE equals 100 and just select it again. That way you can compare between the two airfoils.
Yeah. I still I didn't have some good. Yeah, this at all. I don't know.
Is everyone good to hear?
No. A good way to reset after you've run multiple tests and analysis.
Yes.
It's a good way to dump the old data.
I never do. I just keep it around. It's always helpful because then if you want to, when you go to 3D.
I do have useless stuff that I did with bad ranges.
Oh, you can always just left click and delete and rerun. I mean, that's honestly probably the best way that I found to do it. Or you can just overwrite your runs. It's another one that seems to work pretty well. It depends on what you have. What did you run? You ran a bad angle, bad range? You can try, so It depends on you whether you want to keep it or not, but you can always just run it again, like direct flow analysis. If you just want to rerun it quickly, or if you want to redo the whole batch, then I think pretty sure if you just rerun the whole batch, it'll do it for like the new alphas you set, and it might not stick. The other ones might not stick around. I'm not sure on that though.
Well, I guess that. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
How do you get to the pages?
You just click on the, so unclick everything and then click on the ones that say 100. Oh, alright.
You stay there, but I'll try to run it.
Alright, no, sorry. That's, yeah. Yeah, like there's a little imaginary box that this will really come across. And yeah, so just click on the ones that are 100. There should be. That's really weird. I've already done that before. You might want to rerun again.
If we can't, if our thing is like crashing basically, we can't even click and exit out of it, what should we do?
I can always restart your computer. That's the old reliable. It works.
Let me close this. Okay, so once I close it, I can go. Oh,
yeah, everything looks good.
Yes.
Yeah, click on store audio. That way you can get the variables. Right now.
Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again?
Oh shit. What are we trying to play? Wait, what are we selecting now? 4.
Wait, what are we removing?
You're just unclicking everything except for Reynolds number. It should see like RE0.100. Right.
So just do 100.
Yeah, just do 100s. That way you should just get two lines comparing the airfoils.
How do we select?
You just press A.
You just press the X at the top if you have everything selected, and then you, as you go down, you just would click where the X would be. Yeah.
Mine are both shades of blue. That's
Yeah, how do you change it off?
Oh, it's let me change the color.
For supersonic.
I make this one red.
Oh, actually, no.
All right, guys. So based off of this, right? Does everyone understand what we're plotting, right? CL alpha. That's your coefficient of lift versus angle of attack. CLCD. This is known as a drag polar. That's coefficient of lift versus coefficient of drag. Is there anything that you guys are seeing here? Anything interesting? Anything you wanna comment on?
Where is CLCD?
CLCD. It's someone like a C.
Your
Yes.
Kind of important to notice that the Clark Y stalls much more aggressively.
Very good.
The other way around. The SB stalls a lot more aggressively than Clark.
Indeed.
Where do you see that?
So
how do you know that it's happening? Because in the CL, you can see the CL alpha around 12 degrees. We see the Clark drops from about 1.4 down to 1. I see that. Okay, and then the other one, the SD stalls sharply. The Clark fades off a little more smoothly. Right. So that's going to give you nicer stall characteristics. Yeah. The pilot's bending standpoint. Yeah. We also see a slightly higher CL max compared to SD than the Clark. But overall, the police on that. So I guess that's all.
All right, so is it that was a good point by Quentin. Obviously, the stall characteristics are very different between the two airfoils. The SD7062 does have the benefit of having a higher CL max, so that's something that you could take a look at. In the drag polar, the CL versus CD, you can see that the Clark Y has considerable or has less drag for the most part, right, than the SD7062. That's also something to take note of. And this over here is a pitching moment versus angle of attack. It's something you should take a look at. But in terms of what this plane,
Where's that one?
It's CM versus alpha. We can talk about that later, maybe next time if we ever do this again. But it's something to take note of, take a look at. Know that it exists, but we'll talk about like its importance sometime else once we actually kind of get some of the aero like terminology out of the way. Maybe that's something we can incorporate maybe next week or something. But this is good. So we've now performed 2D analysis for our airfoils. We have plots. We have data. We can now work on some stuff. Another cool thing you can do if you save your operating points is if you open up one of the runs. So let's do the Clark Y. And do you guys see this other tab? So I switched between this one and I switched to from.
Is this, hold on. Quick safety briefing. Is this boot and open-toed shoes in the hangar at the same time?
Oh my god.
Sorry, thank you for that. You're fun. I think the stream fucking crashed. Oh, I know.
So, just to continue and get back on track,
Sorry, Diego.
if you switch between, obviously you have this view right now of the drag polars, the lift curve slope, all this good stuff. If you go to the thing that looks like a weird, like parabola type curve thing, and you open one of the runs, and if you saved your operating points like I did, you can actually see the pressure distributions over the airfoil.
Whoa. Hold on. The airfoil backwards. How do we do that? How do we get to that?
So you go ahead and open one of the runs. So I'm gonna do 100 for like Clark Y. And do you have angle of attack values, or do you just have nothing?
I don't know.
So if you don't have anything, then you could rerun the analysis again. So you got a batch analysis, and if you can, if you store operating points, it should be the middle box. Yes. And if you analyze again, you should be able to get it. So you can see the pressure distribution. This stuff is pretty cool. We recently did a lab. I don't know, for those of you that aren't third years or aren't arrows, we were in the wind tunnel. We used this cool setup to we used a cool setup someone did for their senior project to actually get some of this experimentally, and for the most part I remember that the plots look very close to this, so I mean it proves that the code is pretty well, that the panel code is a pretty decent approximation at actually getting what happens in real life. But anyways, that was more of a little side point. If you wanted to see like the actual pressure distributions over a wing, you can see you get low pressure on the top surface, higher pressure on the bottom. That's why it's plotted with negative pressures on top, right? Because relative to each other, right? You have, what is that? Like an angle of attack of 11. You have a coefficient of pressure of like -4 on the top, and obviously like not even a 1 on the bottom surface. So
yeah, coefficient of pressure when shows that the static pressure of the flow at that point on the airfoil is lower than the ambient static pressure or the free stream static pressure. Positive indicates that it's higher. So when we see a difference between when we have a very low coefficient of pressure on our top surface and a very high coefficient of pressure on our bottom surface, we're producing a lot of lift. But just as a conceptual note, you need
to save your operating points when you initialize your when you do your batch analysis. Yep.
But it's still
no, I'm talking to Ashwin. Yeah.
Oh, you got all of them. That's a lot of plots. Woo. Oh, next 1/7.
I think you accidentally showed I think you're showing all of your angles of attack at the same time. What's a good way to filter for angle of attack?
Let me take a look.
Here. Oh, okay. So here, select. Sorry. So yeah, here. Select one of those. Now drop down. Yeah, and now we can pick our inspection angles of attack.
So like pick like -15, -10,
Actually, just do negative 10. Negative 10, 0, 5, 10. Negative. Yeah, that's good enough. Something close to 0. 0. Keep going. Yeah. So you can kind of see how it's changing. Right? 5. Okay. So right when we're at 10, we have this really big spike all the way down to negative 2.5 on the top surface, which is really good. We can see that that's over this part of the airfoil here. That's why we have that plotted with that. That's pretty cool. So any of this and 2.
I'm having problems with Clark Y. All right. Well, I just used it.
No, make sure. I mean,
Select everything. Yeah. The way I got it right was I got
There's
all of that. Just
that's not wrong.
that is
This provides
format that file.
You can't. I can't. Yeah, because this into performance function, like in the performance functions. So I have all the functions. Yeah. But since you have to name because these are the specific models, but hey, what type is that? And the one below it's the person probably. I can't see. I don't know. There's really no point about it. It's all there. It's just naming.
Basically, dimensions are expressing.
Did you go make your own?
You can either express it as what this is. It's CL versus CL versus C. And so basically what's expected is that we care about drag. Sorry, we care about drag.
So that's really about
drag.
Isn't
And so what we're looking for is a complex operate in here. That's pretty good. So we know that this airfoil, this that corresponds to your so it's
you need to so you need to have just the main speed line control the main script. If these two are together, these
Also, Quinn, in terms of getting other plots, all you have to do is left click on current graph, define graph settings, and then just click on like the one you want. So you can get CD alpha plots. So like you can get like CD alpha. You can do like anything. You can plot whatever you want against whatever you want. It just likes to default to CL alpha for the reasons Quinn just said.
well,
Yeah.
CL
Oh, it's the CLCD.
Yeah.
Yes.
This folder's pretty.
I think I don't know if this does that one actually. It depends how it defines CM. I'd have to read that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fine graph settings. You can CL.
I wish one thing.
Yeah.
That's the drag.
No, that'd be so
This one, right? So that tells you like at what. So this one makes sense, right? So this one's at 10. You're making 1.2 dish, right? At 10 degrees. So you can do that. Look at this one, right? So I'm making 1.2. My drag is 1.03. So it tells you the drag at like each point, right?
Hey, we don't want to be on breeding. This is the loading.
And yeah, so that's the decision you want to make, right? So this one has less
27 other tabs open.
for like the same lift. This one has less drag, right? The blue one.
No.
But it also has the bad stall, right? Which you never know. If you pitch up too hard, you never know what happens. But it does have like higher lift to a point, right? Because here, like, it has higher lift around the same drag, right? So if you were let's say, okay, well, I really don't care about this. You can click here, left click on the CL alpha plot, you can left click, and you can do some shit like this. You can do current graph, define graph setting.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it tells us like what is it? It's like the 3D representation.
Okay.
That he said. It gives you more
gives you the drag.
Yes.
Where's the 3D representation?
No, like this is the like this graph shows us like because what is it?
It's the performance for an infinite wing, right? So if you had no tip effects, if you made a wing that had this profile and was just infinite, right? It never ended. Yeah. This is how the wing would perform.
Well, we want a 3D one that's not.
Yeah, so that's gonna be the next step.
Oh
yeah. No, it's all good. It's just that's why you want to do the 2D first, so it calculates all this, and then you correct for 3D using some other stuff. We'll do that right now. Guys, if we can all come back together real quick, I do want to show you how to do something. So, so right now, you guys' graph should look like this, right? You have CLCD, CL alpha, CM alpha. You have a hinge. That's not talking about that one. And then that's not talking about that one. So you're gonna click the CL XTR top, and we're gonna go ahead and change that. So you change what that graph is showing. You can do that by left clicking on the plot, going to define graph settings. Left clicking on the plot, current graph, define graph settings. Go ahead and do CLCD and do alpha on the X. So on the Y-axis you have CL over CD, and on the X-axis you have alpha.
Define all graph settings. There. That just left click on the graph.
Yeah, left click on the graph.
Oh, that's funky. So which one over here?
CL over CD.
current graph.
So what do you got? Is there anything you guys are seeing from this plot that's kind of interesting?
Well, that works too, yeah.
So can everyone get that plot? Does everyone have that plot up? CL over CD versus alpha? Yeah, right click an existing plot, then you can just change the X to change the Y to CL over CD, change the X to alpha. Yeah, you go to current graph, define graph settings. Yes, you want to do it just for the current graph, not all graph. So is there anything you guys are seeing there? Anything interesting?
It's like there's a maximum.
There is a maximum, isn't that crazy? And then anything you can say about the maximum between the two airfoils? Anything? It does happen at the same angle of attack, but that's more just because these are similar performing airfoils. It's really like, that really doesn't have to do much with the actual like you could have two very different airfoils and their points, their maximums would occur at different spots, right? But comparing the Clark Y and the SD 7062, is there anything that immediately stands out? As obvious as it may seem, I don't want to,
Which one peaks higher?
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yep. It peaks higher by like quite a bit too. It's like 10.
Because it has a better ratio between CL and CD.
It's more efficient.
We can produce a lot more lift while producing a lot less drag, which means we need a lot less power to produce that much lift.
Efficiency is good, guys.
On the CL versus alpha graph, we'll see that where they're peaking, they're producing similar amounts of lift. So what's important is that there's a very big difference in drag there.
Yep. So CL, okay, we can talk about that. So do you guys Do you guys know what CL and CD are? Like, kind of intuitively? Thank you. So CL, right? If you think about a wing, right, it produces a lift force. But when you want to like compare between different, let's say you have like you have a Cessna 172, like a GA plane, and you have a Boeing 747. If you want to compare like the wing sections between them or like the performance between them, you take that lift force, you divide it by, or across different speeds too, because they cruise at different speeds, they have different performance, they're not going the same speed. So you take your lift force, you divide it by your dynamic pressure, right, which is a function of speed, density. Okay, you divide, and then you divide by your wing area as well, and then that non-dimensionalizes it to the point where then you have this thing we call CL, which is lift coefficient, right? So in that way you can compare the performance between the two without having to know the speed, how big the plane is, right? It just brings it, because you're dividing through by like what is this effectively, like speed, altitude. You're getting rid of every parameter that isn't the actual geometry. You can then compare geometries across things that are like super different, right? So that's what CL is. And then you do the same thing for drag, right? You take the drag, you divide out everything that isn't like intrinsic to the geometry itself, and then that way you can like compare again across a wide variety of different speeds. Yeah.
Make sure you whatever you want to make sure you understand what these things are there.
So you can compare against a wider.
Why when we're setting up that analysis? Why do we use a Reynolds number and a Mach number?
Oh yes, let's talk about Reynolds number. So that's a good point. This whole time I've kind of been dancing around this. I've just been telling you guys to click on RE100, right? Now you guys, we should actually talk about what that means. So let's go ahead and use Google to find an equation that we can talk about. Boom, beautiful. What is Reynolds number? It is the ratio of what can be thought about as internal forces and viscous forces, but more, inertial forces. Sorry, inertial forces and viscous forces, right? But what does that actually mean? Well, it just turns out it's just density, velocity. You have a characteristic length, and you're dividing that by your viscosity, right? Of whatever it is you're working with. So what that does for us is that it brings it's another way to non-dimensionalize. In the same way that we're using lift coefficient, drag coefficient, that makes it so we can compare across a wide range of like flow fields. A really big plane flying slow could have the same Reynolds number as a small plane flying faster, right? So it's what allows you to in a wind tunnel, it's what allows you to achieve flow similarity by picking, an appropriate chord length. You can scale things down to be able to get the same flow, or to get F flow speed, which would then have the same sort of, again, ratio of inertial forces to viscous forces to get an accurate representation of what happens in real life, right? Yes, Jed?
The characteristic length on the airfoil chord?
It's the chord.
Yeah. When we get into 3D effects, we end up non-dimensionalizing by both span and port.
Yes, sir.
What is the critical Reynolds number on the airfoil?
Later. We can talk about it. We can talk about that one later. Let's not go too deep.
You're starting to ask questions about when does behavior start to change due to stressful.
Yeah.
And the answer is we're going 30 feet per second, so we don't get turbulent.
We can talk about that stuff later. For now, let's just understand that Reynolds number is a thing that exists, that we know, that it kind of defines the flow regime, right? It's where you are, right? We're at low Reynolds numbers, right? 100,000. It sounds big, right? But it's actually really low. Planes flying millions of Reynolds numbers, right? Like big commercial planes, they're in the millions.
What would be like a general Reynolds number for 747?
Like in the order of millions, like over 1 million for sure, at least. Yeah.
And it starts to not matter.
Yeah, because as you get really big, right, the difference between a million and 2 million isn't seen as in the flow field as much as 1 to 20. A Reynolds number of 1 jumping to a Reynolds number of 20 is actually like a really big difference, and you can see that manifest itself in the flow. You know, going from 20 to 1,000 is again a huge jump, but going from like 1 million to 2 million is actually like it's not significant really. It depends. Well, that's the thing. You can design, like our plane this year, we had a low Reynolds number airfoil, which sucks at like, if you fly fast with that thing, it doesn't, you know, there's no point. It doesn't work as well. So there are certain airfoils that are adequate for whatever Reynolds number regime you're in, right? Well, yeah, you can go ahead and click on them. So then if you want to click on Reynolds number 1 million for each, right, we can compare them and see how the performance changes. They honestly, so you can see the lift, the CL over CD increases a lot, right? So we're getting better efficiency at higher Reynolds numbers. So Ashwin's statement that it increases the performance for both of them.
Things to note is that we're flying at about 1/5 the speed and about 1/5 the chord size of a normal small aircraft. So runs number wise, a lot of these airfoils which are designed for GA planes, low speed stuff, are designed for Reynolds numbers like 100 times higher than what we're flying. So I just have a question, like Reynolds numbers are
so just guessing. Yeah.
50,000 and 200,000. Real planes fly between like 1 and 5. Real small GA planes will fly between like 1 and 5, or 500,000 and like 5 million. That.
Yeah, and then again, you can just calculate it, Ashwin, right? So if you know density, your velocity, you have your chord, and then you can use like Sutherland's law to get your viscosity. You can just Google it. Yeah.
Would be so proud.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go ahead and do 3D stuff. Now that we kind of have a handle on 2D, right? This is some good stuff, good data. But let's actually build a plane, right? So you go to design. Sorry. You go to module. Once you click the module tab, you're going to go to wing and plane design. Something else should open. Yes.
Okay.
Then you're going to go to plane. You're going to define a new plane. What do you guys want to name this thing?
2D plane.
My orbit.
Name. I'm going to name test plane.
My name is
So what you're going to do is you're going to went ahead and unclick elevator and fin for now, since we're not going to model those. Unselect elevator and fin. And you're going to click save. Can everyone do that? Yes. Name it something you know. Unselect elevator and fin, and then click save.
Why am I an SI unit? Oh, this is cool. Oh yeah, this is cool.
So, and then if you guys click the little thing that looks like a plane on there, you can see a 3D view of a wing with a bunch of panels on it. So, so if you guys go to options and preferences, this is actually something we should have done. If you go to units, you can change to, or mine are already in feet, but you guys should change it to feet as well. Or I don't know. Yeah, it depends what you're going to be using it for, but since we use feet, pounds, inches, all that stuff. So yeah, so I have feet squared, feet per second, pounds force per foot, PSI, and pounds. Oh, that'd be pounds mass foot squared.
Shouldn't that be slugs?
Which one? It's yeah. I mean, it's whatever the not SI unit is. You just click yeah. I do feet per second.
What's the one for
PSI.
They're already in a SI.
Yeah. So I have feet squared, feet per second, pounds force per foot, PSI, or pounds force feet, and then PSI, slugs or whatever. So has everyone changed over? Everyone good?
Yes. And you just come back on the model. That's give or take, yeah. Miles per hour or feet per second?
Feet per second. Yeah. Or I mean, you can do either one, right? But since this plane is slow,
Yeah.
and you can just convert between the two. Yeah.
Pounds, force, and
Pounds force feet. If you're using feet, just use feet all the way. Like if we're doing feet per second, then use pounds force foot and then PSI. Although PSI doesn't really fit that, but whatever. So then once you have everything converted over, you go ahead and hit close, and then we're actually going to model the plane. So this will be fun.
What? This is so cool, dude.
So if you go to plane, you go to current plane, and you go to edit wing. We can actually get started. We can get started doing some cool stuff.
Edit wing. We can only have one airflow section over the wing. Airflow profile. That's right now. Always because they're figuring out they did That was great. What's next?
So is everyone ready? Everyone good? Okay. Are you guys ready to continue? Is everyone good? So let's keep going. So what you want to do is,
What do we want to do?
There are a few things we should define here. So Y is your position from the like base span wise, right? So we have a 4 foot span dimension, so let's set that to 2, right? That'll give you a 4 foot span, right? You're defining it from the center out, so 2 feet each way, 4 feet. Can everyone got there? Yes.
Yeah.
So you see, you have 1 and 2, right? So 1 is your at the root, right? Inboard, where your fuselage would be. 0.2 is at the wingtips. Does that make sense? All right, so let's go ahead and pick a chord. It doesn't really matter for now. Let's do, this is in feet, so let's do, what do you guys want to do? A foot chord? Half a foot chord? What are you guys thinking? 0.69. And then since we can't have taper, set 0.69 for the,
we can't have taper.
well, you'll get penalized for it. Let's just do a straight wing.
No.
And then, do you guys see this offset term here?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That offset term defines, like, it's how you implement sweep in this program, which I kind of fucking hate, but, because I don't like the way it does it. But just go ahead and set that to 0. It's the distance from, like, the leading edge to, like, the point at the tip, like, do your sweep. But that actually sucks having to implement that, and let's just go ahead and make 0, because sweep won't help you here anyways. And then now comes the fun thing. So you go ahead and click foil, and then if you click Clark Y but if you hit Clark Y for both, then you should a wing that looks like a wing. Yes?
I'm an engineer.
And then obviously you can increase the number of panels if you feel like you're not getting a good resolution on your answer or whatever. But for now, let's just leave them as a default. And then that sine and cosine stuff is other things, other parameters you can play with, which are probably a little too not worth getting into right now.
Is that just about where you define 0 for the panel?
I think so. It gets pretty funky.
Oh, this is weird.
Because you can use uniform.
It uses for the panel like this.
And you have to, what kind of measure?
Oh man, but mine just large. You mean the analysis of this? Like the
You can display like the actual panels as well. So if you want to see like the panel distribution, if you click on panel, you can see.
This
yeah.
is zooming in, but
And then obviously you can display your axes. You can get rid of your axes. You can show the surface, unshow the surface. You can have the outline of your airfoils. You can get rid of it. You can show your panels, not show your panels. Like there's a lot of things you can do.
So the Y2 is the wingspan.
It's the point like at the tips, right?
Okay.
In this case.
Okay.
Yes. And then if you can add more sections, right? So then if you were to get a Y3, it would split it in half. So now Y2 is like a point on the middle.
Right. Okay.
And then you can just keep adding sections. So you can make like these cool like tapered wings. You can have like an elliptical section if you would want, you know. Yeah. But for now, this is our wing. What do you guys think? Do you guys like it? Clark Y. Chord of 0.69, 2-foot span. Yeah? Cool. So go ahead and click save. If you can get a cool view of your wing. You know, if you just play around with the little scales at the bottom, you can see it from the top, from the side, 3/4 front on view, from the bottom. Yeah, you can do you can just look at a. Huh? That's a lot. Yeah. So, just to continue, now you have. Make sure you guys are saving too, because you don't want to lose all this stuff. So now is probably a good time to save. Save it as like whatever you want it to be.
You just press like Control S.
Yeah, or you hit the little save at the top, you know.
Okay. There we go.
All right. So now we've saved. As you can see, we have our wing parameters there. You know, 4-foot span. You have an area of 2.76 feet, aspect ratio of 5.8 almost, right? So aspect ratio, you can think of it as and in terms of a square wing, it's just your span divided by your chord, right? So it's like how narrow your wing is in a way. You can think of it that way, right? A super thick wing is low aspect ratio. A slimmer wing is higher aspect ratio.
Okay. It's like down.
Yes, everyone agrees with this. We're good. Good. So let's go ahead and continue. Let's go ahead and run an analysis now. So you go to analysis. Yes. Define an analysis. So here, we're going to do what's known as a fixed speed analysis. So we're going to pick a speed and we're going to run our analysis there, right? You can do fixed lift analysis, but that's a lot more useful once you actually have masses and like a full geometry. When you do fixed lift analysis, you can see how as your speed varies, how your performance is. So if you like plot that L over D over velocity in feet per second, you get like cool plots like that that tell you where you kind of want to cruise in a way. You know, usually something like cruise or how fast you can go is limited by either an already existing motor or, you know, just general kind of performance things. Like if you're a business jet, you want to cruise in the transonic range, right? Usually. But if you're just like making a plane, you have a geometry, you don't know how you're going to cruise, you do something like a fixed lift analysis and you can get where your max L over D occurs in terms of speed. So let's do 30 feet per second. What do you guys think? 30 feet per second sounds good. Save. Oh, no, sorry. Polar type. You do fixed speed.
Yeah.
Analysis, LLT, wing only. Yes? Is that what's selected for everyone?
Not getting grass.
Hmm?
I was not getting grass.
For which one?
For some reason.
Oh, we'll talk about
I'm
it.
not really worried
Weird.
about it. Are other people getting grass? No.
And then type 1 fixed speed, analysis, LLT, wing only, yes.
Oh, okay.
The rest doesn't really matter for now. You're just gonna click save. Is that cool to everyone?
So wait, hold on. We're going
Yeah.
Speed, one mouse.
Type 1, fixed speed.
Yes, 30.
30, 30,
Very good.
and then type 2.
No, just type 1.
Okay.
30 and then analysis, LLT,
Okay.
and then
What is LLT?
it means lift right there. So
That's just the theory.
it's the theory that it's implemented.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you see a graph. Dude, then we can just like import this file into
We have some
what's it called? Into Onshape. And then we can design the body there.
That should be hard.
So let's go ahead and run. So you guys now have this plane analysis thing in the top right. If you go ahead and click store operating points, that should be good. Make sure that you're doing like an angle of attacks that you already did for 2D, right? So what did we do for 2D? We did negative 15 to 20, right?
Yeah.
So you just do like negative 10 to 20, right? You don't want to tax your computer. And then in terms of the spacing, we did 0.5 for our 2D. So make sure you don't go below that for the 3D because then it won't be able to calculate it.
Negative 0.12.
Yeah.
Negative 10 to 20.
Yeah. Yeah, so keep that selected and then storing your operating points.
Do I need to do this?
Yeah.
Okay, then I can
Press analytics. And then did you get results? Did you get a curve?
What is this curve representing?
That's just it's looking for the analysis. It's just converging to a solution. It's just the process of trying to get to an answer. And it has nothing to do it's not like a plane thing. It's a computation thing.
Oh,
yeah. So then, if you go ahead and click on the polars on view polar on the top. Yeah. Yep.
And then this is our.
Yeah, you can get rid of that. Yeah, you don't need that.
This is all CLCD.
Yeah. Yeah. So now you should have a bunch of plots, right? So now you have performed 3D analysis for a wing. What do you guys think?
Pretty cool. I know this number is better than an optimize.
But later. And then if you go ahead and click on the thing to the left of it, right, you have your polars. There's another tab that looks like a parabola. The top half, like a parabola to the left, right?
Yeah.
If you click on that, you can actually see your lift distribution. So you're gonna want to look at local lift. You might want to unselect all of them. Yeah, if you're getting lines like that, yeah. So go ahead and
zero.
Yeah, so now you have.
It's like cruising where it's just zero angle.
Yeah, that's your that's how much it's looked at. Like there's air down behind it. If you go to graph, go ahead and do graphs. You can take a study thing. Downwash. This is the lift coefficient across the span. Local lift is your distribution. And then you can see how you have way more drivers. So yeah, guys. So is everyone on the the span wise? What are you guys looking at polars right now, or are you guys looking at the distribution stuff? Because the distribution stuff's actually really cool. That's the other tab right next to it. It looks like a yes. Is anyone lost? Or can everyone get here?
Yes.
So do you guys see the local lift I guess span plot? You lost?
That line.
Get a better laptop, bro. Yeah.
Just look at the screen.
Yeah, so if you guys aren't able to get your stuff to converge for now, there's some fixes for that. You just have to increase. Yeah, we can talk about that later. But if you guys just want to look at what I'm sharing right now, so you guys see, so right now I don't have the polars up. I have kind of the other part of this, which is viewing the span-wise lift distribution and span-wise drag distribution, downwash, things like that. If you click on your local lift plot that shows you your lift distribution, you can actually set a target curve, right? So if I set an elliptic curve, you can see how close you are to actually matching an elliptical lift distribution, which was technically the ideal distribution to get no induced drag, right? So the closer you can get to that, the better. You can obviously achieve that by either changing your foil sections along the span or by adjusting your geometry. accordingly, right? If you have an actual elliptical wing, that could technically get you an elliptical distribution. That's not the only way to do it. You can change by varying your incidence angle, or by varying your where your zero lift happens. You can also achieve an elliptical distribution for each airfoil, or for a wing. So you can actually get a square wing with an elliptical distribution just by changing foil sections. So yeah, and so yeah, this is pretty much it. I mean, this is all I really have to show you. You can look at airfoil drag as well. You can see how the drag increases at the tips a lot. So if you do, let me see, what's a good plot for that? You can probably do speed D versus span. So again, you go to current polar, you go to current polar, edit. Oh wait, no, sorry.
So if we wanted to add like the fan and the elevators,
Yes,
is that we would use the same?
it's the same type of thing. You just again have to make sure you import the sections if you're going to be making like a symmetrical section tail like made out of stick or whatever.
Okay.
You import that in, run the 2D, and then once you have it, you just place those geometries where they should be. At whatever distance back they are. Whatever the actual shape is,
Okay.
and then you should be good. You just run it again. However, for that, you're not going to want to run it. When we click LLT, you're going to want to do another one. And we can talk about that. Yeah, different analysis.
Okay. But like,
It's the same general concept. You just click run and get results.
and then can you save this file and then move it into CAD?
You can do it as what if you did it as SPL, which sucks, but
No.
he doesn't recommend it.
Nice. Over. You kind of move it into a CAD file. You can, but the steel meshes it, especially geometry, so we can get a surface and not really any progress to smooth out that surface. You could just make that.
Anyone have any questions? Does everyone feel like they can kind of do this process by themselves a little bit? If you were given, there's obviously 2 other airfoils that we didn't take a look at that you guys should pull in and run yourselves to see which one would work best. But any questions in terms of what we did today, or can everyone? And then I'm always around, so if you guys have any questions, I'm here to help.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Everybody good?
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Good stuff, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.